Testing. You can hear me. The question is, can they hear me online? Alan's checking for me to make sure it comes through, to see just how precise I have to be on minutes tonight. I'm one of them. I'd like to be able to go back later and hear. Huh. All right, pardon me, folks.
Okay, so I'll call this meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. And since we don't have minutes prepared for tonight, we'll just postpone that to next month's meeting, and we will address minutes from last time we met and tonight at next month's meeting. So we have one case tonight, and I'll go ahead and read the case. And the case is number V41525, David Mickelson, correct? Michelson, on behalf of Sarah Dan LLC, has requested a variance from Madison County Zoning Ordinance, Appendix 1, Article 441. Structure shall be located 50 feet or more from any street right-of-way which is 50 feet or greater in width, 100 feet or more from the center line of any street right-of-way less than 50 feet in width. The applicant is requesting the setback be reduced from 50 feet to 32 feet. The purpose of the request is to facilitate a right-of-way for proposed subdivision. The subject parcel is identified as Madison County Map 50-60, Zone A1, and contains 6.291 acres. So, Mr. Michelson, would you like to tell us what you can about your request?
If you would. Sure. My request is the result of a desire to create a subdivision, divide the parcel into two conforming lots. it's a product of having met with the county staff, and I approached it on the basis of one or two options. One is the option that is before you. The second option would have been to take the structure that's at the top right-hand side of the drawing you're looking at and converted it to a duplex and request a special exception. I need a special permit, however you call it. It's a special use permit.
Special use permit.
Right. But that would have involved having to create non-conforming lot. And the staff felt that this was the better way to go in terms of presenting, that it also would have required a variance. And so the staff felt this was the better way to go with my request. It's a by right request other than the need for the zoning variance. The 3 acres is an allowable use under the zoning as a single family in this area. And so that's how I am here today before you. I'm looking to, we acquired the property with the thought of that we could get a second lot or have other development on it. And so that's where we're here today. We first approached this on the basis when we first looked at the GIS, it actually did not show, the GIS doesn't show this configuration, and it shows that the existing driveway that is adjoining to the neighbor's property, it actually is on my property. And so we started out down the road that we actually had a piece of the right-of-way already on our property. And so when we bought the property, that was our thoughts. And we retained Edward Burke, and he produced a survey. And the first thing that we did is we actually laid this out with the provision that we would be able to get a easement from the adjoining property owner. And we spoke with that owner, we presented the easement, and she basically expressed that she wanted no part of it, regardless of the fact that I already have granted her an easement to get to her property. And so she was like not in favor of it. And so that put me here. That wouldn't have required a zoning variance. But so to move forward, this is what we've come up with, and this is what we're presenting to you as how we could make this happen. And the 32 feet is actually from the carport. It's not from the
From the house.
corner of the building. From the corner of if you scroll down a little bit, Alan, I think it's 45 feet from the
45
corner of
too.
the house. So we're really only requesting less than 5 feet from the corner of the house. And if I had to take the carport down to make this more favorable, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
So the entrance is a joint entrance that you have with your neighbor?
Currently,
That there?
that parcel, that is an easement that was deeded to her property. Without a road maintenance agreement, she won't sign the road maintenance agreement. She won't do anything to assist me in maintaining the road. So she's just basically recalcitrant in terms of any conversations I've had with her.
But it is a joint access for the
It
both
is a
of them.
joint access, yes.
Okay. Alan, do you have anything to add?
There's the other thing that I would just add before I go.
Sure, go right ahead.
Is this easement, this proposal encroaches on my drain field, which I'm well aware of. I have not employed the services of a soils engineer at this point because I didn't want to waste anybody's time and energy to do that. But clearly, it's something that I know will have to be done. And
Right.
if we get approval, my next step will be to retain the services. I've actually already got the guy retained. It's just a matter of what am I asking him to do? So it's clearly something I know that will have to happen.
Okay. Alan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So just a couple of things to note when reviewing this application. There are two surveys in front of you tonight. The one that is in your packet, the primary packet that's here, is the one that was provided by our applicant, and we're using this to, as being the most recent survey and presumably the most accurate that you see on your screen now,
Yeah,
yes.
what's up there?
The second one that is in your packet here was provided by a member of the public for an adjoining property for something that I suspect will come up during public comment regarding drainage in the back of the lot. So I wanted to point out that there were two different ones for different purposes of illustration. But about the proposal for the variance, from a holistic approach, the subdivision here, if not for the right-of-way, is essentially a by right subdivision. The proposal is orderly and seems generally appropriate, with the access being really the matter that's up for question. The applicant, and I was going to address, he started to talk about it, the septic currently exists within the area that would be proposed for the right-of-way, and he's well aware he has to relocate that. Health Department comments came in at almost 4:30 this afternoon, so I took a quick look at them before we came in. You have those in front of you, and I'm quite certain that in the process of evaluating the proposed subdivision, that the applicant would address both the existing property as it is, as well as the future drain field he would have to have approved in order to execute the subdivision. The other thing to consider, VDOT has a standing letter with me that they are not going to comment on variances there unless work is taking place within their right-of-way. So they're not interested in providing me comments with this one. However, I will state that it is likely that if a third parcel is created to service another home, when we go from 2 to 3, it is likely that VDOT would require some modifications to the entrance of that property that would have to be made prior to approval of a subdivision. And so those are thoughts for your consideration.
So, could clarify then, the planning commission does not see this?
The planning commission will not see this. Let's say this is a single lot subdivision. It will come directly to our office, and if it meets the ordinance, it will be approved. If it does not meet the ordinance, it will not. But we required a variance for the entrance.
Right.
Excuse me, but one other thing I'll point out, in the history of this property, the structure that's at the top right, that's a garage. And it was used as an automobile shop, and the previous owner actually ran a business out of this location. So there used to be quite a bit of traffic in and out of, and there's a separate driveway to that parcel, which is not shown on this. You can see it on the GIS.
I'll do what I can to see if I can get you a street view really quick.
I think that roadway shows on the GIS. Go back to the GIS. That's right there in red.
And that still existing is access to that building?
And it actually comes off the apron of the roadway.
Right, okay. Okay, zoning appeals members, questions for the applicant?
So am I correct, the driveway will come up and go down to this back parcel, is that what we're
Yes,
looking at?
it'll hug
So
the
this-
property line, it'll hug the property line, and there's the garage that's there now.
So this dotted line is basically gonna be the new lot line, is that?
The dotted line is the indication of the access easement.
That's existing.
The dotted line are the existing roadways. And I can show you.
If I may, sir, the area that is along here is the proposed easement.
Right,
And then I've run out of battery. The dashed line that would be, I'll see if I can highlight anything. The dashed line that would be here is the proposed subdivision in the
line,
future.
the new line.
Yes, sir.
That's
Right,
not
that's what I
correct.
was asking.
Understood.
And to the bottom corner of the lot, from
Yeah.
like where it says N16 over to where the 283 is,
Yeah,
if you were to draw a line in that corner, that's where this, the spring is that this other person has talked about. And that's all trees, and it's not any area that we would be disturbing in any way, shape, or form. You can see that's all,
Be up here somewhere.
it's right down at the bottom, to the left of the 50/60, those trees. All that is part of the runoff from the spring. And where we would be developing is in the center there, in that area. There's a slight dip in the area, and we would take advantage of the dip, build a two-story structure, one-story basement. Walk-out.
So what type of structure is existing now? That's the 45 feet from the easement. Is it a brick house or
The existing structure is a,
single-family home?
it's a single-family home that was a pre-engineered home. And the shop is a 1,600 square foot, story and a half, concrete block building.
Right.
That was an auto shop.
And the carport, that's 32 feet,
The carport is,
metal poles on the roof?
that's just it, it's 4 poles, it's actually 2 poles in the roof that tie into the existing structure.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, see, it's a manufactured home. And somewhere there was a good picture of the shop in this, of the back of the building.
so you're saying you already know about the drain field and you're planning on moving that?
I already know that I have to move the drain field, it's a given. In order to even propose this solution, I knew I was encroaching on the drain field.
There is a requirement on the drain field that you can build over the drain field as long as it's 30 inches of soil plus it's either got to be paved or concrete, I think.
From my perspective,
It's easy to move.
I need to talk, I already
Okay.
have the soils engineer involved. I'm gonna work out what I have to work out to conform to the codes to make sure that there's no questions.
Sure.
If there's some other way other than moving the drain field that makes sense, we'll explore it, but, at this point, I've explored the fact that there's more than enough room to relocate the drain field and have an auxiliary drain field with what I proposed. So I know that it can happen if we get approval on the variance.
And a separate well for this.
The well, the new subdivision have a separate well. The well right now is, see where the
I see
circular
that.
driveway is,
Yeah.
and there's a circle there, that's the current well. And in actuality, I mean, I don't know, I talked with my surveyor, we may not need that bottom triangle, I mean, that bottom square, we may be able to just come off of the existing driveway at that point and not need to dedicate the right-of-way farther back.
Oh, I see what you mean. So this letter that we got from your neighbor,
It's consistent with what she's represented to me all along. She doesn't want to have anybody behind her.
I see.
Can't blame you.
My first approach to her was, I bought the property, I'm your new neighbor, I'd like to know who you are, this is who I am, this is how you get in touch with me. And, we have a joint roadway here, and there's no maintenance agreement. So before I was even doing anything else, I went to her to discuss the desire to have a maintenance agreement for the road. And, I got from the county staff the standard language for the road maintenance agreement that the county has. And I presented it to her, and she didn't respond to me in any way, shape, or form. So I reached out to her again, actually knocked on her door, sat down with her, had a conversation about the road maintenance agreement. And basically, she said she wasn't interested in doing anything, that she's on a fixed income. She didn't want to do anything to incur any liabilities to herself. The driveway right now has several large potholes in it. Her response to me was, I drive around it. So,
All right.
she's not interested in doing anything to aid in maintaining the common easement. I then went to her and said, I've had this property surveyed, I'm looking to do the subdivision in the back. The ideal way to do this is to be able to come off of your existing roadway and then dovetail into
Right.
to the parcel. And she said, absolutely not, I'm not going to entertain. I said, be happy to pay you for that. You know, you can identify to me what the compensation that you would feel would be appropriate. I didn't pressure her in any way, shape, or form, and she basically said, there's no way I'm going to do that. Which then led me to go back to my surveyor and say, is there any other way to do that? And that's how we are here before you today.
I'd just like to say that I really regret the board making a change and not seeing cases like this, the planning commission. There's a whole lot of issues going on here that planning commissions usually entertain and deal with before it comes to the BZA, at least from my experience on the planning commission. But it is what it is.
I've been quite active in terms of discussions with her and
Right.
what's going on, and very transparent. So I don't know what else to do.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm not saying that you haven't been, but in the past, all the cases used to go before the planning commission. That's when you would air out all these other issues that seem to be arising on this one. But since it's about right now, it's really not, I guess this is the only place that it can be addressed, and it's usually not what we address.
I'm not here to look to do it. I mean, I'm a very civically active person.
Sure.
So in terms of what I'm doing, I'm also I'm a green builder. So what I build here will be sustainable. And an example of what you can do to build a sustainable structure, so.
Okay, any other questions from the board before we go to the audience?
My neighbors on lot 5060B have also raised concerns about the drainage that you were talking about.
Mhm.
That's the lot that's to the left of yours. Do they have a residence on there at all?
They have a very large, if 5060B is the lot below,
Yeah.
they have a residence that's way back from,
Because I can't see it in this.
it's not on,
Photo.
it's way back, it's off of that map.
Okay.
Just a moment, I'll have it up.
There's a private road that comes down off of John Tucker, which is at the bottom of my lot. It's that,
It's the subject.
no, if you go, that's their house on 5060B.
Oh, okay. It is a long way away. I see what you're saying.
But the drainage that they're speaking to is in the forested area on the
Right.
left-hand side of my lot, which I don't want to disturb in any way, shape, or form.
So the drainage is going from your lot down, it's going north to south
Yes.
is the drainage pattern. I can see it now, because the floodplain is down there on the hatch. Okay.
Okay, other questions, comments before we go to the audience?
I did have a question. So back on the plat that we were looking at before that showed the right-of-way or the setback, with the concern of your neighbor, it looks like there's a trees there that would have to be taken down kind of between where the existing septic and that roundabout are.
There's a lot of
Are those
trees.
like pine trees or privacy trees or something like that?
They're, an old stand of
Right there.
cedars, I believe.
And those would have to be removed for the access, the driveway.
You know, my preference is to get my neighbor to give me an easement. So, you know, I'm not adverse if you give me an approval to going back and talking to her and say, look, this is gonna happen, potentially, there's a choice here we can make. You know, so I'll do whatever is amenable to make it the best situation possible. But from my perspective, I believe with the exception of the variance, I have a by right situation that I'm trying to deal with.
So if we don't approve it, what is the hardship for you?
Hardship is that I will lose money on this property.
That's not.
That's not your concern.
Exactly
The
right.
hardship is that I may be back before you to do the duplex, and you'll see a non-conforming lot, which would not be as close to her, but that's my other alternative is to seek a special use permit for duplex, which would involve me having to run a narrow strip that encroaches on the north side of the property so that I can put a drain field in the back half of the property, and I'd have a very oddly configured lot in order to do that. So those are kind of two choices before me in terms to try to do something here that's by right.
I have another question. Can you go from the shared right-of-way on the top half of between the duplex and the existing house for access to that other?
It also, it actually encroaches closer to the house than this proposal.
Yep. Gotcha.
Looked at that.
That's all the questions I had.
Okay, any other questions?
I mean, if that's what the board would like to see in terms of approach, I'm not averse to that approach. It's just in terms of.
Do you know what the setback was for, just offhand, or?
It's much, much closer.
Okay.
It's like 15 feet.
We looked
or
at that, it was
something
around
like
20 feet, I think.
Yeah, 15
something
or
like that.
20 feet.
Any other questions, comments before we go to the audience? Okay, to the audience, any questions, comments on this case? Come on up to the podium and tell us your name, please, for the
If
record.
you'd kindly flip the little switch, please. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My name is William Hunt. I own the farm at 5060B, which is behind this property. Been in 19 years, and the person in question is objecting is Ada Patterson. So Ms. Patterson has been a neighbor for some time, good neighbor but quiet, stays to herself. And we met with Mr. Nichols on the 31st of March to discuss this also. As I understand, her concerns are twofold. One is the cedars you're talking about. There's a row of Leland cypress her husband planted there before he passed away. She's very sensitive to those trees and wants to be sure they're not damaged, destroyed, or removed. Mr. Nichols assured her that probably wouldn't happen, but I'm not hearing that from this gentleman over here. I would think that if you put it right away there, the You're gonna have to trim the trees, or the roadbed is gonna kill the trees. It's a beautiful stand of Leland cypress, been there for many, many years. So that's one big concern of hers, and it appears that it's just gonna be trees removed, is what I'm hearing this gentleman tell me.
If they're on her property, then I have no right to do anything to them unless they encroach on my property. And if they are in fact on her property, what I would do is hire an arborist and root prune them so that there would not be a problem.
Okay, because that would be a concern of hers. I don't have any concerns for the right-of-way. My objection would be if it goes to a subdivision and it backs up to my horse pasture. And I'm really sensitive to that. I'm like Ada. I bought in rural Madison County for the suburb of the rural community, the rural area, for the farm environment. I love it here. I've been here 35 years now. I've been in that farm 19, going on 20 years. So I've been here for quite a while. Ms. Patterson is also concerned that she bought her property for that same environment, that same reason. And to have a home right in front of her with traffic coming and going is something that she objects to also. She couldn't be here tonight because she has a prior engagement with her family. I think it's her daughter's 40th birthday. So that's why she's not here, but I'm happy she submitted the letter. I didn't know she was doing that. But I wanted to come and express my feelings for what she's thinking about and my concerns for a home right behind my horse pasture, which could be detrimental to me, could be detrimental to my animals. It would depend on the house, who moves there, whether they have stray animals that want to run over into my fields or not. Those are rural things that people think about. I know subdivision people really don't think of those things, but I would ask the board to consider that, consider what we bought this property for when you're making your decision, rather than just considering it's another tax base for the county to collect from. And those are my basic comments. Have any questions of me?
Any questions from,
Any questions?
Isn't there a fence that divides your property?
There's a horse pasture fence, yes, sir.
So
It wouldn't keep dogs away, but it would keep horses away.
gentlemen, it's up here. Any question from the Board of Zoning Appeals for,
No.
sorry, Mr. May, is that?
Just
you?
Hunt.
Mr.
Just
Hunt.
one feedback. I've been there 19 years. I've never known a garage to run out of that property you were talking about, sir. The
Up
prior
here,
owner
sir,
was
up
quite
here.
old.
You're talking to us, not him.
Oh, my apologies.
Shouldn't
I
have let,
just-
I shouldn't have let Mr. McMichael speak, but,
Well, he had the mic earlier, so I figured he was,
no, you have the
In the
mic now.
talking
You have the
community.
mic now. You're talking to the Board of
I'm
Zoning
talking to the
Appeals.
board.
Yes, sir.
and I've been there 19 years. I've never known a garage to run out of that building, Mr. Michaels mentioned. Not to say it didn't previously, but the prior owner was quite elderly and had some difficulty, and he just couldn't get around. So that said, that's all I got, unless you have questions
Okay.
of me.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Any other questions, comments from the public? All right, hearing no more, back to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Any other questions, comments for the applicant or opinions before we entertain action on this case? Well, as far as my opinion, it is a by right subdivision that the board decided in the past can be done administratively. And the only thing that I think we're considering really, in my opinion, is the setback on the right of way, which is only 5 feet for the house. Carport is, easily removable if need be. And, 5 feet, for a permanent structure is minor compared to others we have seen. I appreciate the issues that Mr. Hunt has brought up and some others, but I'd just like to say, I wish that the Board of Supervisors, they kept all subdivisions to be required to go before the planning commission and board of supervisors. I don't like the fact that it's administratively approved for reasons exactly like you described. I really don't think that's their, historically has not been the responsibility of the Board of Zoning Appeals to negotiate, you know, whether you cut the trees on the right of way or not. I guess we could, but historically that hasn't been done on the, at this stage. That's just personal opinion there. They decided to do otherwise. Any other comments, questions from Board of Zoning Appeals? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion or entertain action on this case.
Make the motion for action.
Well, no question needed, go ahead. I'm not that formal.
Oh. I make a motion to take action on this.
Grant the variance.
and
To grant the
to
variance?
Sorry, to grant
Okay.
the variance.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and properly seconded to grant the variance for the applicant. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the request for variance has been granted. Thank you.
Sir, I'll be happy to share my name and number with you and entertain any dialogue that you'd like to have.
Okay, the only other item that I have tonight, is it was presented to me, I think we have talked about it in the past, we don't have bylaws for the Board of Zoning Appeals. And our previous secretary had brought it to my attention that there was no, she couldn't find a formal action or didn't know of a formal action that set our compensation that we get for each meeting in lieu of mileage. Of course, she's no longer with the county, but I think it is a good idea for us to go ahead and take action, at least so that Alan has direction to go with what we do for compensation. I think we're getting $30 a person per meeting now. I think, Alan looked it up for us, the planning commission is getting 40, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
40, and the chair was getting
Not-
she told me 75.
Not published, but I do think that there's additional compensation for the chair.
Not, that- I'm not saying that the chair needs more, but I didn't know the planning commission chair got more. It didn't get more when I was a member.
Times change.
I need some back pay, I think.
Good luck with that.
Well, I know. Not that, you know, $30 or $40 is a big deal either way. But anyway, I think it would probably be a good idea for just us to make a formal action to set our compensation. I mean, $30 or maybe 40, like the planning commission would be my suggestion, just to be consistent. I don't know what kind of budget we have to work with, do you know?
Yeah, I do not know, and of course, all of that has done for this
Yes.
upcoming year. But if we want to do something for different
Right,
than
right.
$30, then we put it for next year's budget, fiscal year budget.
Yeah, when does the fiscal year start?
July.
Is it July 1 at county level? Okay. Anyway, I mean, my personal opinion is to leave it as it is, you know, but the request was made to me that we take action just to make it official.
Confirm it.
Confirm it, yes.
I move that we have $30 per member per meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So just for the record to show that we took action on that, Alan, that's, if
I
it
have the
ever is-
motion in the record, yes, sir.
If it ever is questioned, we can say we took action.
Very good.
Okay, any other business for the?
I have
Board of Zoning?
information to share if I may.
Yes, sir, go right ahead.
So I'm happy to email this information out to you. I have it as an agenda item for the Planning Commission tomorrow night. The governor has signed a new bill into law. It's SB 974ER. And it removes the Planning Commission as a body for review for subdivisions and site plans. So not only will your zoning administrator and staff be reviewing single lot subdivisions, but if somebody brought us 50, 100, 200, we'll be reviewing those without planning commission review as well.
Wow.
Additionally, with site plans of all manner of sizes and complexity. So if I were to make an administrative decision that somebody didn't like, they would appeal to this body. And so that is coming. The law is effective July 1st.
Lovely.
So I'm happy to send you the language for you all to review.
Sure.
It
I
will-
might change the compensation based on.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let's go back on that.
Go back up.
That is at your pleasure to do. But we will be discussing this with the planning commission tomorrow. I've not written a summary on it yet, but I plan to before we meet tomorrow night. I'm happy to send you the same information if you would like it.
So they would appeal to us rather than the Board of Supervisors?
Any decision made by an administrator goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Any decision made by the Board of Supervisors is appealed to the Circuit Court. So something that would go to the Planning Commission and be voted on by the Board of Supervisors would appeal to court. If it's me, it appeals to you.
That's,
So it could get complex if,
it would be complex.
I'm sure you all know, but in reading the action, you guys have 90 days to act on some of these cases when they come before you. So certainly you could take more time and not have to do it in one evening.
Oh, yeah. Yes, if you could send us that so we can look over it, that would be appreciated.
Gladly.
These meetings just got longer.
We'll
You're
definitely-
assuming
we'll
that I'm
definitely-
making bad decisions. I take
No,
exception to
sir,
that.
no. No, just one more pressure.
I ain't got but one more
But that,
year.
that changes the whole nature of that process so
It does.
considerably,
That's a-
Mhm.
It's a big change.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've never been a fan of the administrative approval, nothing against you, obviously. You
I don't
haven't
take
been
it personally. It's okay.
Well, you haven't been here very long, so I don't know whether to take it personally to you or not. But I know what has happened, you know. And sometimes, I personally think it's better to have 10 or 12 people look at it from the general public. And
For the more complex projects, I'm inclined to agree.
well, and even the simple one, in case like what we just heard, I mean, geez, that could take quite a while at the planning commission level, you know, just for one lot. And I think that's, the more appropriate spot for that kind of discussion to happen, rather than even the Board of Supervisors, you know, but, of course, they have the final say on something like that, but needless to say, other people thought differently, so.
So if we are receiving it from administrative side to make decisions on, are we able, if it can't come to a conclusion, or does the buck stop here? Or could we then ask like for it to go to the planning, or sorry, the board of supervisors?
I would assume it would go from here to circuit court.
Okay.
That's the way it typically happens.
That is correct.
Okay.
It would go, if the applicant doesn't like, or the appellant doesn't like what the board has to say here, it would go to circuit court.
And they have 30 days to do it.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
30 days.
They must file within 30 days. I believe there is a provision, I think it's 30 days of a decision that I make that appeals to you as well. So if any of those terms expire, it's moot.
But that's in addition to the normal variances. Normal variance requests
Correct. Betsy, the variance process, to the best of my knowledge, does not change.
has not changed. Because, I mean, that has always been an administrative decision, correct? And the way I understand, Betty always made that decision.
Yes.
Or Betty and Shaq did, Betty and the attorney.
Yeah, we're not denying applications and then making people come and appeal them if there's a route to get a variance, and
Right,
making them
right.
pay twice. We're just encouraging people to ask before, we deny something to see if there's another route.
Sure.
Try to be friendly.
Okay. Any other action for the Board of Zoning Appeals tonight? We just need a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we are adjourned.